Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Word Funk, a hastily thrown together podcast with an even more hastily thrown together name 10 minutes ago. It's going to be a podcast about nerdy things and really whatever we decide. Every week we'll reinvent ourselves like Miles Davis, only significantly more alive. Joining me are my two co-hosts from the old BT podcast, Austin Yorski and Johnny Maloney. Johnny is coming to us live from Canada, and Austin, as usual, is probably stretched out on a sofa somewhere, topless and being drawn by a handsome stranger. Austin, how you been, buddy?
I've been unemployed for the last couple of months, so I've just been watching anime nonstop. Do you guys want to talk about that? That's what all I have to talk about.
Anime's cool. I like anime. Johnny, how are you? And how do you like anime?
I think anime is a thing to talk about. I think we could talk about anime. I think it's worth talking about.
I like it. I do have some other things to talk about as well. For example, did you know that in the midst of all that is happening, all the terrible things that are happening in Ukraine right now, which are very sad, something amazing is happening as well, and that is the Ukrainian Internet Party, which is a real thing that exists on Earth, announced over the weekend that it would be fielding Darth Vader as their candidate for the Ukrainian presidency. Elections are in May. You might jump up right now and think that Ukraine is playing like an April Fool's Day joke on us, or that we, on this podcast, we're recording on April Fool's Day. You might think we're fooling our audience, but no, it's actually totally legit. I am actually kind of blown away by this. I mean, and I'm a little surprised. As a Star Wars fan, I'm a little surprised that they fielded Darth Vader because, as we all know, Emperor Palpatine was the real politician, whereas Darth Vader was more like a mad dog that he sent to kill things.
I just want to know, like, how bad does your government have to be? Where you're like, that's the guy. That's the guy. He's gonna run away with it. He's gonna take it to the top.
He's gonna force choke his way into the presidency.
I mean, how much do we really know about the quality of life under the Emperor's reign? Did they ever show that in any of the Star Wars movies? Like, what if everyone is really prosperous under Darth Vader and Palpatine?
It's suggested that there's some sort of oppression, but yeah, we don't know economic disparity or anything like that.
They kept the military uniforms in tip-top shape. Those were some snazzily dressed officers.
True. That's true.
And, I mean, obviously, I don't know about you guys, but they must have had some very green policies, because I got to look at that third moon of Endor. You don't get much more wildlife reserve than that. That's pretty, keeping that intact. I mean, sure, he had, a little shield base down there, but by and large...
Yeah, they left them alone.
The Empire was a pretty ecologically minded government. Something I think we could use in today's international climate.
You know, at the end of Jedi, the rebels are just going to screw it up. I mean, they blew up the Death Star, and we all know that's going to come rain down on the Ewoks.
Yeah.
And
they blew up the shield base as well, and I'm willing to bet that probably set more than just a couple of forest fires.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about their economic policy either.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. How does economics even work in the Star Wars universe? You'd think I know. I mean, I know almost too much about Star Wars. But
I think there's a really big market in hyperspanners.
Okay, all right.
Because a Han Solo, I know for a fact, can never find one when he needs one.
That's true.
But as far as this news story goes, you're like, what is actually happening in the Ukraine? I feel bad because, I mean, my last name is Yorski. That's Ukrainian. I feel like I should have a better grip on what is going on over there. Who is running as Darth Vader in this election?
That I don't know. I've read.
They haven't the guys.
Articles.
Yeah, the guy's not even released an identity. They're actually it's Darth Vader.
And this really isn't even a joke. I mean, according to a report by, I can't remember the name of the report, but I checked a couple different articles, and they both say the same thing, that the Ukrainian Internet Party had to pay a registration fee of about $225,000 just for this to happen. So this isn't some fly-by-night operation or someone just doing some sort of joke. I mean, in Germany, didn't they have the Pirate Party, and wasn't someone even elected to that?
Yeah, but
the Pirate Party's a thing.
Yeah.
It exists in more than just a couple of countries.
But they're not going to get a call from Disney's lawyers.
Yeah. How does that even work? I mean, For those who don't know, Disney is apparently buying my bosses at Maker and Blip, so I'm kind of a foot soldier for them now, or a stormtrooper, if you will. So I don't know if my new bosses are going to be able to take down Ukraine because of this. Does Disney get Ukraine if Darth Vader? Does Disney now have like this horrible dispute with Putin over Ukraine?
Now I'm trying to imagine what Disneyland Ukraine would look like.
Oh, she's just a little sad.
That's the saddest place on earth.
It is.
Oh.
I actually lived in Eastern Europe, not in Ukraine, but in Montenegro, and not to offend anyone there, but it's not the brightest, shiniest place ever.
I'm shocked, sir.
I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I was scared 100% of the time I was there. so there's that. But seriously, wouldn't this be great? I mean, I'll be honest, I've been following the news more lately than I have been last year. I sort of tried to dive back into it. So I have been following what's going on in Ukraine. But I don't remember any of the other candidates that are coming up really in next month. It's April now. The election is in May. I don't know the other candidates. The only candidate I know is Darth Vader. And what if Darth Vader actually wins? I mean, what is that going to even look like? What is President Obama even going to say? I mean,
in fairness, Leon, I don't think any of the other Ukrainian presidential candidates quite have the star power behind them that Darth Vader is packing. So
yeah, I mean, on like election night, if he wins, does he go to the podium and take off his helmet and say, "Hi, I'm Gary," and then he's the president, or does he just stay as Darth Vader in character for the entire presidency and just constantly do these like whatever the equivalent of a Rose Garden press conference is, and just come out and all the time in Ukraine and says, "I find your lack of faith disturbing, Russia. You need to back."
In for a penny, in for a pound. I mean, if you go into the election full Darth Vader, you run that term full Darth Vader.
Yeah, because it would be disingenuous not to, and I'm only kind of joking here. It would be disingenuous not to stay as Darth Vader because that's who people voted for.
Yeah,
people voted for Darth Vader. They're not voting for whoever's under there at all. I mean, I'm only kind of joking there.
He's kind of right. You're right. I see. Right. I mean, like whether people know it or not. Yeah, they're voting because a guy slapped on a Darth Vader costume.
Yeah.
They want Darth Vader.
Austin has apparently. I didn't know you were Ukrainian. This is kind of awesome that you just turned out to be Ukrainian. And the first topic of our new podcast is Ukraine. Do you have any special thoughts on this?
I don't. This episode started really weird. I was like, oh, we're going to start a new podcast, talk about nerdy stuff. I was like, Star Wars? That sounds great. And then it just immediately became BT Podcast 2.0.
Except this is real. I'm not making this up. There's a dude in the Ukraine right now running for president in a Darth Vader costume.
Right, this isn't fan fiction. This is something that exists on Earth right now.
Although, can you imagine the fan fiction if he gets elected?
Oh my God. It's mostly gonna be erotic, of course. By the way, Vice President Max Rebo right now. For those who don't know, Max Rebo is the elephant-looking alien from Return of the Jedi who ran the Max Rebo band.
I ship Vader and Putin.
Oh God.
I ship it real hard.
Who's top?
Putin, obviously.
Oh wow, no, I would say Vader. I mean, Putin has like incredible, almost illegal powers, but Vader
almost.
but Vader has like powers, all caps, powers.
Well, he's also kind of crippled. It's more work. He prefers to let other people take care of it.
Yeah, and Putin's actually in awesome physical shape.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Vader, he's got all those breathing problems. He has like prosthetic arms and legs. It's an ordeal.
Vader can't take off his clothes for sex.
I'm sure he has like a
No, finish your thought. Finish your thought, Austin.
He has like a fursuit kind of like zipper. A pouch, what's that fucking called? I'm not versed in the scene. What are they called? Like a flap? Nobody?
I was thinking more along the lines of just like a full like latex bodysuit or something.
Oh wow.
I mean, like this treated, like ointment on the inside.
Right back to gimps, guys. We were starting where we started from before.
We turned it around. Well, I for one will be watching this election very closely now. Oh God! I mean, I feel like if there is even some traction on this, that world leaders are actually going to have to mention it, if only because someone is going to ask a world leader in a press conference what they think about it.
I mean, Colbert was legitimately a candidate in America, so
yeah, that's true.
Who knows?
Well, you guys are missing the best part about all of this, though.
What?
And that is the history textbooks.
I don't know. Have you guys seen any textbooks that we get in the American South? They're entirely different than the textbooks the rest of the world gets. It's really funny.
I'm aware of that. But just imagine for a second, like it's your first day of like, I don't know, history in your school. You get your fresh textbook, and you're just flipping through it, and there's all these pictures of, like, illustrious world leaders and G8 meetings and UN peace accords and Darth Vader. Just, like, front and center shaking hands with, like, Barack Obama or something like that. Just, like, and you're like, what the fuck?
I just thought of something. If Darth Vader turns out to be, like, a really terrible Ukrainian president, then this will be the new worst thing George Lucas ever did.
What if he turns out to be like the best president ever, though?
Then he'll take credit for it.
Wouldn't it be so fucking weird if, like, 50 years from now when people say Darth Vader, like, the first thing you go to is, oh yeah, the Ukrainian president.
Yeah, it's like when people say Ronald Reagan, they don't think about his acting career.
Yeah. That would weird me out. That it was like, historically speaking, people would be like, Darth Vader, the, I don't know, fucking like 27th Ukrainian president.
This has just gone on far too long.
Okay.
We have another Disney related story.
Yeah. Oddly enough, a lot of this is Disney. Johnny, you know more about it than me, so why don't you take it away?
We're gonna talk about this, are we?
Oh yes.
We're gonna talk about the Game Jam. All right. So, some of you may know, because the internet was absolutely filthy with it yesterday, that Maker Studios and their subsidiary Polaris attempted to mount a reality TV event called the Game Jam, in which competing teams of indie developers paired up with popular YouTube personalities would, over the course of about 4 days, attempt to create an indie game, all the while participating in, like, reality TV fare and little competitions and prove yourself test that reality TV is popular for. Sorry, I just had to swallow that word. So they got a few pretty big names of indie developers, including Zoe Quinn, Robin Arnault, Davey Redden, to come and do this Game Jam. Not because they were really interested in, being on TV or being reality TV stars, but it would be an interesting way to kind of expose the Game Jam and indie development to a wider audience, and maybe kind of like opening up more people to the possibility of playing indie games. Well, oh boy, did this thing go fucking sideways fast. Apparently, Polaris managed to get the whole thing sponsored by PepsiCo, rather specifically the Mountain Dew branch of PepsiCo. And there was one gentleman, for lack of a better term, by the name of Matty Lesham, who apparently was on set as a, and I quote, Pepsi consultant, who kind of took a couple of camera crews and decided to basically go as full-on reality TV as he could try to manage. He was trying to fabricate conflicts between some of the competitors. He was asking terrible questions, basically almost abusing these people to the point where they were questioning whether or not they really wanted to get here. And at one point in time, he crossed a really sensitive boundary right now, particularly in video games, by asking questions like, some of the other teams have women on them. Do you think that they're at a disadvantage? But it wasn't until he asked the question whether or not one team having a woman, there were 2 women at this event, so there were 2 teams with women on them, with 1 woman apiece on them, out of a 4-team event. And he asked one of the people, what was it? Very specifically, I think it was, do you think that you're at an advantage because you have a pretty girl on your team?
Huge mistake.
Huge mistake. Now, he's referring to specifically...
Adriel Wallach?
Is it Adriel Wallach? I think it might be Adriel Wallach. Yeah. Yeah, it's Adriel Wallach. Now, so Adriel Wallach is an ex-engineer at Lockheed Martin. For those of you who don't know what Lockheed Martin is, they make shit that flies. I'm talking jets, I'm talking missiles, I'm talking satellites, spaceships. There's probably some shit on the International Space Station that belongs to Lockheed Martin, okay? So this is not some fly-by-nightly pretty little 14-year-old who's pretending to be, a game developer because she wants to be on TV. This is like a legit, talented, intelligent person who is already well established and doesn't really need a TV career to be successful. And to just have some fucking, Mountain Dew glob in a suit suggests that, well, hey, you guys might be at an advantage because you got a pretty girl on your team.
He works for Mountain Dew, so he had to ask the most extreme question. The most extremely offensive question.
So, that pretty much did it, apparently. The whole thing fucking fell apart. Everybody pretty much walked off the set by the end of the day. And, yeah, after a day's filming, the whole project down the drain. And apparently that's an estimated cost of $450,000.
Christ.
To make her at Polaris, who just got bought by Disney,
For $2 billion. Can you believe that?
Maker Studios. Oh yeah, I believe it was something like that, wasn't it?
It was $2 billion.
I feel important.
It was all for you, Leon.
All for you. All for Leon.
Oh, well, but you know, and you're right about something, Johnny. Yeah, I didn't even think about it when we were talking about it earlier, but yeah, especially right now, in the video game industry, saying something incredibly sexist. I mean, obviously in general that's an awful idea, but at this particular time in our history and about this particular topic, that was just quite possibly the stupidest thing he could have said.
It is the biggest hot button issue right now. Female developers are getting death threats from people, guys are harassing them online, they're having to change phone numbers. It's it's serious business. Yeah. And then some fucking tall drink of Mountain Dew in a suit is all oh hey, do you think that you're gonna do well at this event because you got cheekbones?
Oh, Mountain Dew, you just make your incredibly, frankly, somewhat tasty, but really bad for you drink, and just don't do anything else. Just don't do anything.
I'm suggesting that they shouldn't have had video games in it at all. If they were that concerned with Mountain Dew, they could have had a soda jam.
Yeah.
Where it's like, everybody shows up, and for 4 days, you gotta make a fucking soda, and then after that, your soda wins the soda jam, and then fucking soda everywhere, and you win a lifetime supply of the soda you just made.
I like how Mountain Dew is like the video game industry Yakuza or something. They're always like showing up behind Jeff Cayley with like clipboards, just staring at the back of his head, making sure he's on message. So we put up banners and stuff. It's really creepy. Why do they have so much influence?
I guess because they're probably the only ones that are trying right now.
Oh my goodness!
Like I'm trying to remember the last video game event that was sponsored by like Nescafe. But like the real truth of the matter is that it totally makes more sense to me for a gaming event to be sponsored by like Maxwell Coffee House or Starbucks or something like that, because fucking that's what those people drink. Austin, I'm sure you know, staying up like super late at night because you're like, I gotta finish this game because I gotta write something about it when I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Time for another cup of Joe.
Oh, gosh. Well, what were you going to say, Leon?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, once a year, Mountain Dew comes out with, like this, you go online and you, like, choose what the new Mountain Dew flavor is, and they do this sort of thing constantly. I can only assume that, like, this year, they're all going to be, all the names for the Mountain Dew, flavors are going to be, like, incredibly sexist, like glass ceiling blueberry and paycheck disparity strawberry or something.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, so that was a thing. That's like way to impress your bosses first thing, you know. Your brand new bosses.
Oh, it's just awful.
On the bright side, Angry Joe and JonTron went to Disneyland.
Yeah, good for them.
Because they were there for that event, and as soon as it went sideways, they're just like, we're going to leave now. That was pretty hilarious.
And good on them. I mean, you know, like, I'm sure everybody there was probably under some kind of, like, legal threat if they didn't finish their contractually obligated, like... But, I mean, if everybody just decides to walk off set, well, like, what do? Nothing. You got nothing. You got no show. You've lost the money. And then what do? Do you sue? Do you go like, well, they didn't want to stick around after this douchebag was wandering around on set asking sexist questions?
Yeah. Joe's a good guy. He probably hijacked Space Mountain and just rocketed out of there. It was over.
I think it's cool, though, that everyone showed solidarity and left when the first couple of people decided to, because they could have stayed behind to honor their obligations, but they showed support for their, fellow community members. So.
It says a really interesting thing about trying to wrap a reality TV show around a bunch of people who already have successful careers. Like they're not there because they want to be famous and on TV. They're there because they want to show an important and vital part of their life to the public. And if any, like, exposure or, like, television-based fame comes from that, it's merely incidental.
Well, that's the kind of unstated rule of reality TV, is you give up your dignity for a chance to be famous. But these people, that wasn't an incentive because they were already relatively successful and, confident in their abilities. They didn't need to debase themselves for other people's entertainment for any particular reason, which is why you don't see, like, great artists on reality TV.
No, whenever there's it's time for some sort of celebrity Big Brother or celebrity apprentice, it's always like C list or C minus list kind of people who just sort of pop up there. And of course, so yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Are you guys telling me that Kelly Clarkson's not like a real artist?
I don't even know who that is.
No, that's when before she was a somebody, she was on a reality TV show, but now she's like a thing?
I don't know.
I'm just saying
that's a name I know. It's somewhere deep in the back of my brain.
You're just saying words, aren't you, Johnny?
It's word funk, Leon.
Oh yeah.
Can you dig it?
I dig it a bit.
But only a bit.
Kind of. I'm getting there.
Oh, yeah.
So do you guys want to talk shit about reality TV more, or do you have anything else, like any particular subjects? Because usually we just talk about video games, but apparently that's not how we're doing it now.
I don't know enough about reality TV.
Guys, I watch so much reality TV.
I don't either, Johnny. I'm on your side.
And I'll explain how this happened to me. I say this like I'm in an AA meeting. No, I'm not ashamed of it. At least enough that I'm saying it in public.
What you don't know, Leon, is that this is actually secretly an episode of Intervention.
Is it?
About your reality TV addiction.
It's like mirrors reflecting mirrors. But no, I used to just completely steer clear of it. Didn't interest me at all. And I don't mean this in a bad way in the slightest, because I know she's going to listen, but then I got married, and my
Vera!
No, she's great, and so are her shows. She introduced me to all these reality shows that I had been avoiding, because I'm a little stuck up when it comes to my programming. I was like, I'm not going to watch Dance Moms. I mean...
Do they have warp speed? Not interested.
Right, but
that's the difference between me and you, Leon. Actually, I seriously dumped a girl once because she watched reality TV.
That's honestly the only reason why, Austin.
Not the only reason.
She's perfect in like every other way, but because she had a hard on for toddlers' tiaras, you were like, "Fuck it, bitch."
I pulled a Seinfeld.
I watched Toddlers and Tiaras. I'm just going to say that out loud now. One of the first reality shows I watched when my wife and I started dating was Toddlers and Tiaras, because she really wanted me to see the episode with who later became Honey Boo Boo. This was before Honey Boo Boo was a thing. She was just a contestant on Toddlers and Tiaras, and she wanted to show me just how messed up her parents were, keep feeding her all this sugar. And I said, they're not really going to do that. And she says, yes, they are. You have to watch this. So I watched it practically on a dare. And yes, reality TV, for the most part, is kind of a cesspool. But, kind of. But there are, legitimate competition kind of shows out there. I mean, I mentioned Dance Moms. I mean, the focus of the show is the drama, but they are really competing, and these kids are actually really talented. And there are some other shows that are not completely terrible, but reality TV is not for everyone. It's not.
I'm not sure it's for anyone.
Well,
if I was given the stamp, if they put me in the FDA, I'm like unfit for human consumption.
Oh.
I try not to be a dick about it, but generally I think less of people who watch reality television.
How dare you, Austin?
I'm sorry, Leon. I guess I'm a reality TV racist. I can't help it.
Yeah.
It's just how I was raised.
Like I said, I was pretty stuck up about it too, and I sort of looked down on it a bit, but then I watched enough of it, and it became my potato chips. The thing you kind of go to when you just want sort of some kind of comfort food. There is actually a show that is, I believe, legitimately good television. It's called Capture, and it's basically the Hunger Games, but you don't have to actually kill anyone. It's just a big game. It's just a gigantic but very impressive game of tag, and I would legitimately recommend that, but not legitimately recommend anything else. The end. Oh, I do have one more story I want to get to just briefly. It's probably not going to be a big deal, but I care about it because I think Indiana Jones is my hero. Harrison Ford may not be Indiana Jones in the next Indiana Jones movie. The series that I didn't think would be rebooted while he was still alive might be rebooted. The rumor is Bradley Cooper is being groomed for the role, for the fedora and whip and cool jacket and silly Asian sidekick.
When you say groomed for the role, I just picture him in his trailer with a baboon just picking bugs out of his hair.
It's almost exactly like that. I actually did a Renegade Cut episode about this last year. We didn't know about the potential reboot then. I basically said that it's easy to replace the actor for James Bond because we don't often connect with Bond on a human level, whereas it's easier to do that with Jones because he falls on his butt and he's more vulnerable than Bond. But now they actually might do it. I don't know how to feel about it.
I'm thinking he might still have a shot at the hat and the whip one more time. Because let's they're basing this on the whole concept of that it's like, okay, well then first they've got to shoot the new Star Wars film, and that's not going to be out till blah. Well, the thing is that we've got no idea how involved Ford is going to be in the new Star Wars film. We know he's going to be in it, but it's not like he's going to be the main character. Obviously, they're going to be trying to, pass the torch a little bit. This isn't going to be the adventures of the nigh geriatric, Jedi. They're all getting old, man.
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, in terms of casting, they are actually going to cast, this sort of broke, I think, either today or yesterday, that J.J. Abrams is almost certainly going to cast unknowns, not almost complete unknowns as the main characters, because that's sort of what they did back in the day. Mark Hamill was not this huge star before he became Luke Skywalker. And that's sort of what they're going to do with this one. I follow Star Wars news about the new movie more closely than I think is healthy.
I mean, sorry, Austin, go ahead.
I would say, as far as Indiana Jones goes, it's inevitable that they're going to keep making them even after Harrison Ford is dead, and Crystal Skull sucked with him, so it doesn't really matter. There's no hope for that series as far as they're going to suck with or without him.
I don't know necessarily that the next one is going to suck, but I have I was almost gonna say I have a bad feeling about this, but then God, I'm so Lucas in my head right now. It's just embarrassing, isn't it? But
I mean, even if it's halfway decent, eventually they'll start making them without him, and those will be bad. It's just there's no way they're gonna let that go dormant, right? Like every series is gonna be rebooted 3 or 4 more times before you die.
I guess so. I mean, the thing is, for some reason in my head, I was like, Harrison Ford will be Indiana Jones until he's dead. But now I'm thinking he's 71 now. He might be 75 by the time they actually shoot Indy 5. And honestly, he's getting to the point where he looks like old Indiana Jones telling the stories in the flash forward scenes in Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, he's not a bad looking guy for 71, and I'm sure he has trainers that keep him in relatively good shape. I don't know if he's entirely down for it because he looks like he's in another dimension half the time when he talks.
Let's be honest here, okay? They had a good idea in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull where it was like, okay, we can bring in a younger actor to be the son so we can have, swashbuckling action. But then they decided to cast Shia LaBeouf. And I think that kind of speaks for itself.
That crazy train has sailed.
Yeah, that's, nobody really needs to say anything, do we? I mean, apart from when he showed up on the red carpet with a paper bag on his head that said, "I am not famous anymore." I mean, that says it, right?
I think it does.
So you can still do it. You can have Indiana Jones. You've just kind of got to you have to tweak the role a little bit. We can have Indiana Jones as the scholar, as the professor, and then have some swashbuckling in there. But, it doesn't have to be him doing it all the time. For it to be a good Indiana Jones movie, we need Indiana Jones, and we need, swashbuckling, and we need, weird supernatural stuff, But that it doesn't have to follow the same arc. These are just the ingredients, and how you top that cake is up to you, Cake Master. Is that a reality TV show?
You know what? It's not. There's nothing actually called Cake Master, but there are at least 6 reality shows about cake.
I thought there was one about cakes. Yeah, I don't even remember what
There's not one. There's way more.
There's 6.
Oh my God! You think
if you're the mayor of Cake Town, is Cake Town one of them? I don't know. I'm trying to. Never mind. Keep going. Forge ahead.
There's some just about cupcakes. I mean, there were so many cake shows that they had to do spin-offs of it. God, I feel bad about myself right now.
There's no hope for humanity at all.
No.
You gotta do the cooking by the book.
I hate both of you.
You did the thing.
Okay.
Is there anything else you guys would like to say before we go? Because I wanted to keep this under 40 minutes.
Under 40 minutes? You're killing me, Leon. You're killing me.
Yeah.
I thought we had an hour.
No, absolutely not.
You jerk. Wait, have you been playing any video games? I need to know, Leon.
I'll talk about video games and go over just a bit. I have been playing Tales of Grace's F. It warms my heart in a deeply profound way. I love sitting down and playing a JRPG because if it's done in sort of the traditional way with the traditional sort of trope characters, then it just fills it. And I'm only kind of joking here. It really does fill my heart with something good there. Just to see a bunch of 12-year-olds decide that it's time to save the world, and everyone just doesn't even question it. They all just shake hands and like fly off into something like shaped like a rainbow or something. And it's like it's just time. We have to stop all of evil. On our planet that looks kind of like Earth but isn't, and we're not even going to contact the military or law enforcement. We just need a few swords. We need more swords, and as we progress,
the power of friendship. It
is the power of friendship, and that's what I like about this game. The mechanics are very much the same as every other Tales game for the most part. At least is how far that I am in it. But yeah, that's what the game is like. It's like a Tales game. It's like a JRPG. Everyone's smiling, and then they'll frown a little because something bad happened, and you think someone's gonna die, but like someone's dog. But then the dog doesn't die, and everything's great. And that's what these games are like, and that's what I'm playing.
I'm so proud of you, Leon.
Great.
Playing video games again.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Guys, 40 minutes of podcasting. It's not enough. I need more.
No. I refuse. This is what drove me away from BT Podcast during like the latter days of that show. I couldn't handle the time crunch.
We did let it get a little out of hand there.
You had 2-hour-long shows.
We did.
What were you even talking about? By the hour point, I had said everything under the sun. We had said every word in the English language and various other ones, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. And I just clapped my hands and said, out, and then walked out of the room and let you guys talk for the next hour. So I think...
People demanded more. They need it, Leon. They need that fix. Also, we talked for like 8 minutes before we started recording, so it's only 35 minutes. I'm going to squeeze every last second out of you because I miss you, Leon, you bastard.
I miss you guys too. Is there any? Well, I do have one more. Fine, I have one more thing I can talk about. And it's not about video games. It's about there's a company called Dock Street Brewing Company. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but it's making a new beer.
Oh yes.
I'm a complete teetotaler. I've never had alcohol in my life, so if this is a big company, I have no idea about it, or if it's some local brewery. But anyway, inspired by The Walking Dead, they have a new beer, and it has actual brains in it, goat brains. No word, as far as I know, on whether or not this gives you goat powers when you drink it, but I think it's completely rational to say that it does.
Oh man, we should do a Let's Play of Goat Simulator.
I'm pretty sure I already have goat powers.
Are you?
Hey, wait, let me check.
Okay.
Yep.
I think you became Jim Brewer for a second there, didn't you?
Yep. Goat powers.
Oh, gosh. So I don't drink, but I don't know if either of you guys do. Would you actually drink Walking Dead inspired beer with goat brains in it? Legitimate question. Go.
I would probably drink beer with brains in it. I'd eat brains. I mean, it's not like, this is brand new. People have been eating brains for a while now.
Yeah, I think
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would say I think I've had cow brains before. It's a food that people eat, but I have no interest in beer. But whatever. I don't think it's.
I am the sole voice here of possible love of beer and brains. It's up to me.
It is.
I'm afraid so.
Yeah, I guess I'd drink it. I'm not sure it'd be that good because it is inspired by The Walking Dead.
You don't like The Walking Dead?
The TV show?
Yeah.
You fucking lost me at the beginning of season 3, man. It
Really?
was all over.
Well,
no, I think you lost me like partway through season 2.
Okay.
Where they were like, oh, heck, let's stay at this farm and we'll look for this girl and stay out of that barn. Where I'm like, the girl's fucking dead and there's zombies in the barn. And every episode, they're like, oh, where's that girl? Hey, kid, get in the house. He's not in the house. I wonder what's in that barn. Fucking zombies. And the girl is dead. Can we just please leave?
Well, I'm a recent convertee. Is that the word? I don't know. I've recently started watching it. I think I watched season 3 and 4, and I've mostly enjoyed it. I actually am kind of into the show. I heard season 2 was kind of stanky. So if I watched season 2, I might have like from start to finish, I would have said this stinks, so I'm not going to watch the rest of it. But the last 2 seasons I've enjoyed a lot. I
gave it like 4 episodes at the beginning of season 3, and I was just like, nope, done.
All right.
Washed hands.
Okay. Well, fair enough. I don't stick around with the show if I start to hate it. That's true of movies and pretty much anything that I do. So I certainly relate. But having jumped in when it apparently, at least according to like critical response that I've heard, started to finally get good, I've been enjoying it for the most part.
Well, the first season was great.
The Darabont stuff.
Oh yeah, the first season was fantastic. It grabbed you like right out of the gate, and it was like it was uncompromising and gritty, and like it didn't shy away from like different locations and different stages of development and characters and things like that. And then they got to the second season. And some asshole was like, hey, I got a great idea. Let's have 12 writers that don't know each other all write these episodes individually. So it's like every single episode has like that one writer's take on that one single fucking conversation that keeps happening every goddamn episode. Why don't you love me anymore? I'm with Rick again. Where's the kid? He's not in the house.
Yeah, it has its rough patches. I'm a little bit behind on it, but it has good stretches as well. It's okay. It's not like, one of the best shows, but whatever. It's fine. I just started Breaking Bad.
Detective.
I've only watched 2 episodes of True Detective, so I've just started. Don't spoil too much of it for me, but so far, damn good show.
Matthew McConaughey's in it.
Yeah, he's just Matthew McConaugheying all over this show. I mean, when he's
all right.
Yeah, when he's like, I get Matthew McConaughey. I guess in the flashback moments when he's like super handsome Matthew McConaughey, it's like, all right, super handsome Matthew McConaughey. And then when he's
dirty
piece of crap Matthew McConaughey,
dirty underside of a pizza box, Matthew McConaughey.
Then he's great with that too. Matthew McConaughey has surprising range as the same character in one show. I think that's actually pretty good. How did he become like this great freaking actor? I mean, I'm not saying he was a bad actor before, but he always picked these terrible projects, and now all of a sudden he's just picking all these great projects, and we're all.
Are you telling me you didn't like Sahara? I'm just fucking messing with you. I never fucking saw Sahara in my life.
Me either.
Failure to Launch, Leon? Failure to Launch? I never saw Failure to Launch. I have no fucking idea what it's about.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm trying to feign outrage here, but I'm like, what has Matthew McConaughey been in? I know, Dazed and Confused. And I didn't like that movie very much at all.
Oh. Austin, do you have anything you'd like to say before we ride off into the sunset?
About anything in particular, or just in general?
About Matthew McConaughey and how handsome he is, or anything at all.
I mean, I don't know. He's not my type. He's fine though. I mean, I'd let him give me a handy, but wait, what are we talking about?
Just for the story.
Just so I can say it happened.
If there's ever an awkward moment in your life where you meet a girl and you're not sure what to say to her, so you kind of look at your shoes and you're like, oh, my left shoe is untied, and you're like, no, stay focused. You're supposed to say something here, and you just look into her eyes and she's expecting you to say something, and you're like, Matthew McConaughey jacked me off once.
Beat that story, bitch.
Feast!
She's yours. After that, she's yours forever.
Oh man, I guess if you have precious time, Leon, that you can't spend with us, we can go.
You make it, God, it makes it sound like I'm having an affair with you guys. My wife is in the.
I wish you would, you jerk.
I know. Well,
you should probably plug your show and stuff though.
Oh
do
yeah.
That?
Oh yeah, I do a show called Renegade Cut. It's about like weird stuff about films, like fan theories and interpretations, and my own clearly left-leaning political slant on stuff that always gets me in trouble. Also, I do a show called Attack of the Trek, and it's just humor. It's clean humor, oddly enough, for me. It's a clean humor Star Trek show.
And they're both great.
Well, thank you very much.
Good job, Slugger.
I don't know anything about Star Trek, but I love that show because everything's like so new to me. It's like I have no idea what's happening.
Why do we keep you around?
How do you not know anything about Star Trek?
I'm sorry. I saw like half of the J.J. Abrams first movie.
It doesn't count as Star Trek anyway.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like a Star Wars prequel.
Yeah.
I've been trying to catch up on my old TV recently. I watched like all of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, cause
that's
well,
good. That's good.
Not all of it. I quit after she hooked up with Spike because that's just, I have no time for that nonsense. Right. But I'm trying to. Star Trek's on the list.
Did you get to the musical episode?
No, but I'm told I should watch that.
It's good.
You should. It's damn good TV.
I also have to watch like Babylon 5 and a bunch of other stuff. It's all on Netflix.
I like Babylon 5, but watch Star Trek TNG or DS9 or even Voyager before Babylon 5. I'm sorry. I like Babylon 5, but I'm sorry. It's not as good as we remembered it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say that out loud to all two Babylon 5 fans who are going to be listening to this.
2.5. No, I'm with you. I feel like it hasn't aged well, but as the thing is that it's like you can't really appreciate Babylon 5 until you watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's a bit daunting to be like, no, wait till the end, especially with a TV show where you get like 6 episodes in and you're like, what the fuck am I watching? Be like, don't worry, you just have like 3.5 more seasons to go.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so real quick.
Yeah.
Are you? I'm really curious. Are you going to add a new theme song? I was really attached to that Donkey Kong intro. Do you have something better for this show?
I'm not even sure. I had an idea when I was going to call the show something else. I had an idea for the intro, and now that it's called Word Funk, I have to think of something else. It's probably going to be
I'm not married to the name.
I am. I like it. And
I had no input on that. If anyone hates the name, don't blame me.
it's probably going to be something funky.
Okay.
Right.
Call this show Castle Disasters.
What does that mean?
or Funky Shines.
I liked all of Johnny's like way too long suggestions.
I really liked KC and the Sunshine Band of Brothers mashup hour.
I can't say that every week.
I know, exactly. It won't fit on any like in any links on any website.
But we could use That's the Way I Like It as our theme song.
Wow. And on that note, I have to say goodbye to everyone listening to Word Funk or whatever we end up calling this thing. Johnny, Austin, would you like to say goodbye?
No.
I just wanted you to say bye, folks, and then you got all awkward there for a second. But okay.
I'm crossing my arms in a huff. I don't wanna.
Okay. Well, bye, folks. We will see you. I guess every 2 weeks. I think we were talking about.
It's up to you. I'm here every day.
I have a life. So.
I don't. I'm sorry.
It's mean. But that's all for Word Funk this week, everyone. Stay funky? No.
No.
No catchphrase. God damn it.
Oh God. Now that has to change for next week. That has to change.
God, no catchphrase.
Scrap this whole. Scrap the whole episode. Start over.
That's it. Nuke it.
I'm sorry. Salt the earth, everybody. Goodbye.